Hey, what's up, you awesome dudes? Grace here, and I am super excited to bring you guys the second part of the Anthem gameplay series that has been posted a few hours ago on the PlayStation Korea YouTube channel. It's a 5.5 minute long video showcasing some brand new details, new gameplay, also some details on the first mission, the legendary contracts, Shaper Storm stuff, and there's also the brand new feature called Cataclysm being shown for the very first time. We've talked about it a few days ago, and it looks pretty freaking sweet. The gameplay in general also looks and feels much better compared to what we had in the demo. It's much more polished, so yeah, it looks very good. I'm going to break down all of this in just a bit, and I'm also going to be providing a link down below if you want to check the full video. And we're going to start with what appears to be a Shaper Storm that is happening in the background. It seems that this plays a huge role in the main story, and at some point we will need to contain it. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but it looks quite impressive. As you can see, it's causing a lot of lightning. It looks quite similar to what we've seen in the main gameplay trailer. It's much bigger, as a matter of fact, but most importantly, it's affecting a huge area around it. Even though it's so far away, you can see all of this destruction around it. The environment is pretty much dead. There's some fire smoldering still going on. At some point, we even see 3 Striders coming in, and this is most probably story related. You're going to have to, as I've said, handle it somehow, maybe even stop it if you can, and you're going to have to use your Striders to get there. The squad is all ready to team up, take it down. How they are going to do it, nobody knows yet. We're going to have to wait and see for the full game to happen. But you can see a glimpse of what is happening towards the center of it, and about 25 seconds in the video you can see the entire party being engaged with a lot of titans. First you see this huge one over here. I don't remember if they got this huge in the demo as well, or maybe it's just an angle thing, but it definitely looks one of the ancient / legendary ones. At various points in Fort Tarsis, they even talked a little bit about this encounter and how they had to run away because they were completely overwhelmed by the number of titans that they had to deal with. And yeah, that is definitely what you get to see later on in the sequence, with 2 huge titans in the background getting very close, and the ranger trying to help out the colossus for some reason and not the other way around. But yeah, it looks very ominous. It looks so freaking cool. I'm really curious to see what happens in the main story because it looks so interesting. These titans are very scary, and they definitely possess powers beyond your, well, capabilities in the beginning of the game, and you will have to make a run for it. I'm not gonna lie, this was talked for quite some time, but you are a kind of disgrace around the Fort Tarsis in the beginning hours until you kind of start to build that reputation up. So yeah, nonetheless, later on we see some other encounters as well. We have this luminary boss we had in one of the story missions as well in the demo, and its weak points of course are its legs. Blow them up and it's going to be yours for the taking. You have those weak points exposed that you can take advantage of. You can even see him throwing a rocket at his leg in this sequence. Later on we see this interceptor taking on this group of insects, but you can also see in the background a Strider being severely damaged off its legs and kind of almost falling. So my presumption here is that this involves a mission in which you will have to repair it somehow and then use it when you're tackling the Shaper Storm. At least that is my theory right now from what we have available. But yeah, do expect some high-end encounters to include a lot of these titans. You can see them later on, another one of these huge legendary or ancient titans. Nonetheless, the next sequence that deals with customization is what gets me quite impressed. You can see this awesome storm right here, but what I want you guys to look at is his head region, as he has this awesome vinyl on it with a skull. It looks quite awesome, and you're going to see this type of skull on several other heads as well. Also pay attention to this amazing interceptor with these awesome dragon scale effects on the armor and gold as well, and it somehow reminds me of the dragon from The Hobbit. It's definitely looking like that. I mean, the scales, the dragon scales, the gold looks pretty sweet. You're going to see these awesome high-end materials that you can apply in your armor customization later down. But later down around 1 minute mark, I want you guys to pay close attention to how enemies react to damage and especially to explosions. I mean, they seem to be reacting with much more physics than in the demo itself, and at some point one of the NPCs even flows away from the explosion that the storm is doing, and the physics themselves just look to be so much better compared to the demo itself. But of course, this is just limited footage. From what I'm seeing so far, it kinda looks better than what we had in the demo. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the difficulty settings, and this is where a lot of changes have happened. As BioWare said a few days back, they're going to be doing a lot of balancing for the full game, and one of that balancing is in the way that Grandmaster has been readjusted, specifically Grandmaster 3, which previously increased enemy damage and health by about 300%, is now dropped at 165%, while the drop chance has been kept pretty much the same. Also take a look at some of these amazing Masterwork items in the game. We have this Devastator sniper rifle, which didn't come with any yellow text, but you probably already know about its ammunition exploding on impact, and this is a very good weak point damage dealer. But later down at about the 2-minute mark, we're going to see some other items of Masterwork quality. For example, this Cycle of Pain machine gun. It provides a yellow modifier that, as I've said in the past, it changes the way that weapon works. In the case of Cycle of Pain, it has a buff called Marksman Swiftness, and what this does is basically it increases your rate of fire by 10% for each weak point that you hit, and it stacks up to 10, so it can potentially increase its rate of fire by 100% as long as you only hit weak points, and that is already quite OP. I mean, the RPM on this weapon is 300, and essentially doubling it is going to make it even more powerful than that. It looks quite sweet. It's definitely going to reward you doing those weak point damages, and this is just one of the modifiers, by the way. There's going to be many more types of modifiers in the game that will severely change your overall build. But I was talking about customization, and pay attention to this awesome Colossus. You can see those flame marks on him. This one looks really freaking cool. I mean, you can make that hot rod feel applied to your javelin, and of course you can display all of this in the launch bay, the social hub. You can see here a bunch of people hanging around, and you can interact with these people with a square button on your controller, or probably with F on the PC. And what this does is basically it lets you add them as friends, it lets you invite them in parties. But yeah, later down we also get to see more of the customization options. Some of the emotes in the game are also very good, especially the high rarity ones. Like we have this robot epic one that looks pretty freaking sweet. There's also a thumbs up being shown later on when one of the javelins is unlocking a high-end chest. At about half in the video, we also get to see a little bit more about the activities you can do in the game, specifically the challenges. There are daily, monthly, and weekly challenges you can do, and these will reward typically Ember, specifically Masterwork Ember, which you will need for the crafting stuff, and that will supplement very well the loot drop. In case you don't get the loot that you need, you can go and like take a blueprint, and you can build whatever component you want to, or weapon, as long as you have the blueprint for it. Contracts themselves can range quite a bit in difficulty, with legendary ones being the most difficult ones, and you will get these from some of the characters in the game. One of the legendary contracts at some point even requires you to stop a Titan summoning that is happening, and obviously it's a multiple part mission that you have to do, also very difficult and also very rewarding at the end of them. So there's quite a little bit of diversity in terms of how these missions unfold. They are quite random, and even the developers have been taken by surprise by how different these can be and how much variation is from one to another. In terms of strongholds, there's not much info being shown here. We have the Tyrant Mine being shown as well as the Temple of Scar, but we don't see anything from the third stronghold that has been confirmed to exist. There's some gameplay here that looks familiar to you guys, and it appears to not have been changed that much, at least in terms of the Tyrant Mine compared to how it was in the demo itself. At least in terms of the end boss, the encounter looks pretty much the same, but it was already entertaining enough for me. At a certain point in the video, there's a daily challenge that hints towards possibly the third stronghold in the game, and it requires you to successfully complete the Return to the Heart of Rage stronghold. And the Heart of Rage, as I've said, is the supermassive Shaper Storm that is causing a lot of trouble, and obviously this is what you can expect from the challenges that I was talking about. Completing side missions, doing strongholds, completing contracts, and all of that on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis is what's going to reward you on top of what you already know. But towards the end of the video is when we get to find out more about these cataclysms that we have seen and heard about in the past few days. They have also been announced in some interviews, but we also got to see a glimpse of that in the demo, in the final hours of the demo, and it seems that these are affecting the entire world. They can spawn randomly. I mean, we have a sequence at some point that is really awesome. I mean, there's this huge cataclysmic event going on, destroying the environment, causing all of these debris and rocks to like circle around this storm. There's these rifts appearing, more dangerous creatures, and of course the titans we've seen so far might not even be the biggest of them all. There's also some secrets associated with them, hopefully finding more about the lore itself, and I really like these combinations of lore elements and gameplay to find more secrets. It all looks cool, and as you get better and better gear, you're going to be even more prepared for them. So yeah, you're going to start weak but become powerful, almost overpowered and godlike towards the end. But yeah, there's still going to be a challenge for you in there. I mean, remember, those Grandmaster buffs are going to be absolutely staggering. The game itself looks to be quite polished. There's a lot of activities to do in the game, and according to the last statement in the video, they are planning to bring in new content weeks and months soon after launch. So yeah, if that doesn't put you at ease, I'm not sure what will. And this is most probably all there is to this video. I might have missed a few details here and there, but tell me what was your favorite thing in this video. In the meantime, a like and a subscribe would be super appreciated. Also, don't forget about the notification button, and I will see you guys next time.